Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. This is episode 2 of the best teams for Go Battle League. The first episode was very well received, but I listened to your feedback, I read your comments. We want more choices, more variety, but still very solid teams, and that's exactly what I did here. We have teams from some of the best players in the game, battlers like ValorAsh, Toshi, HouseStark, and content creators like JDevon and HeroVange. These are some of the strongest teams, and you are going to want to check these out for your Go Battle League battles. There are a lot of newcomers in this episode, like Alolan Raichu, Vigoroth, Bastiodon, Melmetal, and some classics like Venusaur. Let's get right into the first team. The first team comes to us courtesy of Toshi. Toshi is a member of the Elite Four and a Go Stadium coach. I will leave a link down to his Twitter and his coaching services down below. His team is Venusaur, Melmetal, and Azumarill. Venusaur is running Vine Whip, Sludge Bomb, and Frenzy Plant. Melmetal with Thunder Shock, Rock Slide, and the new move, Super Power. And Azumarill with Bubble, Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump. With this team, Toshi has an overwhelming win majority in rank 9. He has 24 wins and only 5 losses. The theme of his team is flexibility. He opens with Venusaur quite often in order to catch the Azumarill or the Mudboy lead, and if that doesn't work, he safe swaps into Azumarill. Azumarill is very hard to beat with an energy advantage, and it does have very good neutral matchups across the field. Melmetal is also an incredible Pokemon. Thundershock charges its moves so quickly, the Rock Slide brings down the Flyers, and the Superpower can one-shot most of the tanks like Bastiodon and Probopass. The trick to running this team is knowing your matchups. None of these Pokemon have very strong wins across the field, but they all have certain win conditions. You need to know your matchups, what can win in what scenario, and you need to manage your shields very carefully to run this team, but it can pay off huge dividends. It's very well balanced and very hard to beat. The next team we're featuring belongs to JDevon. JDevon likes to lead with Haunter. He does have Defense Deoxys and Registeel in the back. There are a few keys to running this team, and the first is this is a fast attack team. Haunter in the lead wins tons of CMP ties because its attack stat is so incredibly high. He is running Shadow Claw, Shadow Punch, and the deadly Shadow Ball. Next up is Defense Form Deoxys. Deoxys is running Counter, and the key here is that it's also running Thunderbolt and Rock Slide. He is not running Psycho Boost on this Defense Deoxys because of its role with this team, and that role is as the safe swap. If he loses the lead with Haunter, for example, something comes in like a Hypno or a Mudboy, he brings in his Defense Deoxys because the Thunderbolt and Rock Slide offer so much coverage, he's able to turn around a lot of matchups. Finally, in the back is Registeel with Lock On, Focus Blast, and Flash Cannon. Follow JDevon on Twitch, link in the description. The next team comes to us courtesy of Shagnuss. Shagnuss likes to open with Defense Deoxys. She does have the almighty Registeel in the middle and likes to end matches with a vicious closer in Haunter. Defense Deoxys is a great generalist. Shagnuss prefers Counter, Rock Slide, and Thunderbolt. Her Registeel is running Lock On, Focus Blast, and Flash Cannon, but the interesting twist here is that Haunter is running Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, and Sludge Bomb. Shagnuss' strategy is to burn her opponent's shields with Defense Deoxys and Registeel and leave both of her shields for her Haunter in the back. Haunter's Sludge Bomb can surprise fairies, and because its attack stat is so high, it can one-shot any fairy opponent, and it devastates grass types as well. I like Shagnuss' team because it shows you can have glassy Pokemon in the back and use them as closers instead of as openers, where you can get a lot of damage off and burn some shields. Just shows you the depth of strategy that you can have with different Pokemon and how you place them on your team. Next up is the people's champion, HeroVange. HeroVange loves running Altaria, Meganium, and Alolan Raichu. Altaria is an excellent lead. Its Dragon Breath does so much neutral damage to the field, and it is running Sky Attack and Dragon Pulse. He also has Meganium with Vine Whip, the Community Day move Frenzy Plant, and Earthquake, and Alolan Raichu with Thunder Shock, Thunder Punch, and Grass Knot. Meganium is an excellent grass-type Pokemon with more bulk than Venusaur, and its Earthquake can help it cover Registeel. Alolan Raichu is also an excellent flex Pokemon that's affordable. I'm actually going to talk more about Alolan Raichu here in just a second, but I think the key thing that I love about HeroVange's team is that it's accessible. You have Altaria, which you can double move for 10,000 dust. Meganium is the same as is Alolan Raichu. This is a very strong entry-level team that you can use to win a ton of battles. Check out HeroVange's YouTube channel in the description below. In episode 1, I talked about the 2 best Pokemon to form the strongest core for your Go Battle League teams, and in today's episode, I have a new core. This is Registeel and Azumarill, and this team is brought to you by none other than Valor Ash. Valor Ash believes that the Registeel and Azumarill core is unbreakable. This core has so much coverage: Registeel with Lock-On, Flash Cannon, and Focus Blast, and Azumarill with Bubble, Hydro Pump, and Play Rough. Only 2 Pokemon in the entire Go Battle League meta can really threaten this core, those 2 Pokemon being Alolan Raichu and Meganium. Valor Ash loves to run Hydro Pump on Azumarill because it gives him more coverage against steals like Registeel, Bastiodon, and Probopass, and he runs Play Rough in order to win the mirror match against opposing Azumarills. The question becomes, how do you complete this core into the best possible team of 3? And for that slot, Valor Ash recommends Alolan Raichu. Alolan Raichu with Volt Switch, Thunder Punch, and Grass Knot offers insane coverage. Since the attack got buffed, Volt Switch is now a clone of Shadow Claw, generating tons of energy and doing more damage than Thunder Shock. Thunder Punch is a very spammy move, and Grass Knot offers you coverage against all of the water types and the ground types that can threaten Alolan Raichu. As a flex choice, you can run Wild Charge because it does better overall damage output and can give you wins against some of the tier's bulkiest Pokemon like Defense Deoxys, Azumarill, and Registeel. Follow Valor Ash on Twitter and link to his coaching services down in the description below. The next team comes to us courtesy of AceLeaderSky from California. AceLeaderSky runs the same team as Valor Ash, but there's an interesting strategic wrinkle. He does lead Registeel because it wins so many matchups against the field, and he uses Alolan Raichu as his safe swap. When you bring in Alolan Raichu and get some energy together, you can force your opponent to swap, and you already have a charge attack ready for your opponent's next Pokemon. Alolan Raichu overall is a great Pokemon that can flip a lot of matchups. I definitely recommend you check it out. Follow AceLeaderSky on Twitter, link in the description. If you like Valor Ash's team but struggle against Registeel and Defense Deoxys, look no further than Linden Ryu's squad. Linden Ryu recommends Alolan Marowak, Azumarill, and Registeel. Alolan Marowak with Fire Spin, Shadow Ball, and Bone Club has convincing wins against Registeel and Defense Deoxys, and the Azumarill and Registeel core provides a very solid backdrop in case you lose the lead. The next team comes to us courtesy of the King of the North, HouseStark. HouseStark is an Elite Four member and a Ghost Stadium coach. His team consists of Umbreon, Azumarill, and Tropius. Umbreon is probably the best Dark-type Pokemon in the entire game. It does have insane bulk, and Alex likes to run Snarl, Last Resort, and Foul Play. His Azumarill runs Bubble, Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump, and his Tropius uses Air Slash, Leaf Blade, and Air Cutter. Umbreon makes an excellent lead for this team because it traps the Ghosts and the Psychics, and it has enough general bulk to have great matchups across the entire meta. I asked HouseStark how he likes to deal with the Registeel because Registeel is such a prominent Pokemon in the Go Battle League. He said that he hopes to land a Hydro Pump with Azumarill, but if he encounters the Registeel with his Umbreon, he needs to shield Focus Blast. That is a very rough matchup that Registeel can win, and that's probably the Achilles heel of this team, and it takes a lot of skill to play around the Registeel, but if you can avoid that, or if your opponent does not have a Registeel, this team can conquer so many other squads in the Go Battle League. Is very strong, very balanced. I've linked to HouseStark's Twitter and coaching services in the description below. The next team is brought to you by Indigo. Indigo hails from Mexico, is the captain of his PvP team, is a content creator, but he is probably best well known for his viral challenges and memes that he creates for the Pokemon Go PvP community. Indigo's team is Alolan Raichu, Vigoroth, and Alolan Marowak. This double Alolan squad features Alolan Raichu in the front as it's a great flex option as an opener, as we talked about in Valor Ash's team breakdown earlier in the video. Indigo is running Volt Switch, Grass Knot, and Thunder Punch. On his team is also Vigoroth with Counter, Body Slam, and Bulldoze, and his closer is the deadly Alolan Marowak with Hex, Bone Club, and Shadow Ball. Vigoroth's main role is as the safe switch. Its counter builds up energy extremely quickly, and if it encounters a Registeel, it can hit it with Bulldoze. Otherwise, Body Slam is a great general move that does tons of damage over time. The Body Slam spam is real, trainers. Finally, Alolan Marowak is usually held in the back in order to deal with Defense Deoxys and other psychic types. The next team is brought to us by Church. Church likes to run Toxicroak, Azumarill, and Magneton. Toxicroak is running Counter, Sludge Bomb, and Mud Bomb. Azumarill with Bubble, Play Rough, and Ice Beam. And Magneton with double Legacy Thunder Shock and Discharge plus Magnet Bomb. Now that Magneton's Legacy moves are back in the move pool, it's easier than ever to get access to this awesome Pokemon. Church loves leading Toxicroak because it beats all of the tanks, most importantly Registeel. If you lead your Toxicroak into an Azumarill, the best thing you can do is throw the Sludge Bomb and then switch. I love this team because it's focused on spam and winning CMP ties. All three of these Pokemon have very high attack stats, meaning that you will win CMP ties the majority of the time. The next team we're featuring belongs to Alfindeol. Alfindeol likes running Meganium with Vine Whip, Frenzy Plant, and Earthquake, Jirachi with Confusion, Doom Desire, and Psychic, and Melmetal with Thundershock, Superpower, and Rock Slide. The key member of this team is Jirachi. Jirachi doesn't simulate very well on PvPoke.com, but with an energy lead, it can win tons of matchups across the meta. One of the best parts about this squad is that every single Pokemon on it has play against the big two, Azumarill and Registeel. Meganium offers Registeel coverage in the form of Earthquake, and Melmetal has access to Superpower. Meganium can cover Azumarill with its Frenzy Plant and Vine Whips. Jirachi is going to resist everything except Azumarill's Hydro Pump, and it can drop Doom Desire on Fairy-type Azumarill. In this team, Melmetal is packing Rock Slide to counter the flying types, but Thunderbolt is a viable flex option. The next team comes to us from Tampa Ace, Ferg. Ferg's line is Bastiodon, Defense Deoxys, and Altaria. Bastiodon is running Smackdown, Flamethrower, and Stone Edge. Defense Deoxys has Counter, Thunderbolt, and Rock Slide, and Altaria with Dragon Breath, Sky Attack, and Dragon Pulse. Ferg says in the event that he loses the lead with Bastiodon, he quick swaps into Defense Deoxys. He then uses Defense Deoxys to beat his opponent's counter swap because it has such great coverage with the Rock Slide and Thunderbolt combination. And then his objective from there on out is to line up their first Pokemon with his Altaria. The Achilles heel of this team is a Whiscash lead, but Ferg has been able to pull off a couple of wins with this strategy as well. In the event that he's unable to gain switch advantage, he switches into Bastiodon after his Defense Deoxys is fainted. He then allows his opponent to work down the Bastiodon, giving it 0 shields. Bastiodon is such a bulky Pokemon, this usually resets the switch timer so that Ferg can bring out his Altaria. In this situation, he prefers his Altaria with shields because it's ranked number 1 on PvPoke for a reason. The key to running Ferg's team is energy management. You want to farm any matchup you can wherever possible so that you have extra energy for your opponent's next Pokemon. That's all for me, trainers. If you enjoyed these teams, go and track down those players, follow them on Twitter, subscribe to their channels on Twitch and YouTube, and let me know how your practice goes with these teams. If you like this video, leave me a like, comment down below what you thought and what your favorite team is, and subscribe to see more. I'm definitely going to do a best teams for Ultra League, so stay tuned.